Okay guys, so this is going to be a live stream. Basically what's going on is I've created like a beat instrumental which we can see here in Logic, and I've just been sent all the vocal stems. I'm just going to go over sort of the process of getting those vocal stems to the point you'd maybe start mixing them, and if I've got time today, I've got about 45-ish minutes. We'll go over some mixing that I would do as well. So I hope it's helpful for you guys. Any questions, throw it in the chat on the side, or if this is in post, in the comments below. I will have a crack through all of them. So what I've done, just dragged and dropped in the vocal track here, or the vocal stems here if you will. And they're all recorded like separately. They're all a bit of a mishmash. The first thing I'll do is look at actually arranging them and seeing exactly what we've got. So let's get rid of the mixer, just press X to do that. And we just want to look at these vocal tracks here really and see what is what. Now Trigga's pretty good. He'll normally name everything so I can break it down pretty easily. What he tends to do as well is record his verses all separately rather than all in one flow, and they end up like this. So that's going to be the first thing I'll look at, and I'm going to take this top one here, the first verse, and we're just going to rename it super quick, and we'll just call it verses instead. What I'm going to do is comp them all into just the one here. So there is something we can do in Logic that will let us relatively quickly get rid of the silence. I don't know if that's popped off of the screen. Let's drag that down for you and make it smaller. We can. Well, you can see mainly what's going on there. So if we hit Control and X, brings this up, can just trim all the silence out, and we just need to work out roughly how we're going to do it. So we need to set a threshold, bring the threshold down so it makes sure it gets the audio. You can see how it's blocking it out there. We want to make sure it's capturing the audio to some degree and that it's not getting the silence. -40 is working there, so it's a bit like a gate in that respect. And we need to give it a little bit of a ramp in and out. And if we do that with a little bit of a ramp in and ramp out, we'll have a little bit of silence either side, but it's going to get rid of everything else for us. There are some other controls, but I'm not working full screen, so I can stream this. So you're just going to hit OK, and it's going to cut that out for us. And boom, that's that section done. And if we zoom in, look, we've got a little bit of silence on the end, a little bit of silence at the start, just to ramp it in and out for us. If I now do that on all of the other verses that I maybe want to cut together, and I know this is a verse called verse 2, my settings should translate because it's all recorded in the same session. So boom, we know that's good. We can just lock that into place and start bringing everything over to one channel, and this way we can get rid of 4 unnecessary mix channels, getting everything all in the one place, right? We want to make sure it stays in the same spot and doesn't snap to anywhere. Sweet. If you can't hear me, by the way, just give me a shout in the chat, but mic levels look good for me, but you can never be too sure when you're live streaming if everything is sound. You hear some clicking in the background, by the way. I'm working in headphones right now, but my dog is usually clicking around on the floor behind me. I won't hear her, but that's what it is. Let's get rid of those. Cool. So we've now comped those 3 verses into one, getting rid of 3 unnecessary tracks, meaning we can just process the one.
Grinding since I was 9 years old.
Happy days. So that's that squared away. Now we want to have a look at what else is going on. Now there's some ad-libs here, look, with the verses. So let's bring our verse right up to the top. It'll be one of the main things we work on. And the ad-lib sections, we're probably going to work on those as well. So let's get rid of any silence here. We're going to need to adjust this ever so slightly so that we capture the right bits. I'm not going to split all the ad-libs into individual sections. I just want to block them out. So I'm going to use the bit of like ramp in time here to make sure we can get that as close as possible, like so. And we'll do the same on the other. And he's been super helpful here, and he's labelled them left and right. For the moment, I'm just going to hard pan them left and right. We might tweak that as we go, but it's going to give me an idea of how it's going to sound and what we were after. So now we should have some ad-libs and vocals together.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting, ain't out on road and grind.
Happy days, and that works. Even though they're hard pan, they're a bit extreme. In the track themselves, that might actually work pretty well. So, last thing, we're just going to comp up our choruses. Because we've set everything up nicely, we can do that pretty quickly. Got a bit of a long ramp on the silence, but that's no big deal. We're just getting in the right place. So now, I would actually look at like naming and colouring things most of the time. So what I would do is highlight all of the verses here. I'll just show you a real easy way to get into like the colour system. We can just use like the toolbar here, drop that down, grab colours. There's a shortcut for it, which is like Alt B or something. I just go in here. Usually I'll do like a dark purple or something like that for my verses. Ad-libs, I'll then do a shade darker like that. And then chorus, I'm usually going to go like almost through into the pink like that. That way at a glance I just know what I've got. I tend to get rid of that menu because I like the extra bit of space. And that's it. So now I'd probably have a listen through for reference to get an idea of where we are and look at balancing things out. So I'm going to mute the mic for a second just while I do this. I can have a listen on speakers and such and switch around and you don't get mad feedback. So back in 2 ticks.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting, ain't out on road and grinding since I was 9 years old. Don't live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, pretty unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Mix it down, send it again. What's all this talk about? Draw for the skeng. If you can't write bars, don't pick up the pen. At least work on your craft, don't war with the men. Bars, hooks and flows, I got plenty. Talk this and that, but your tank's on empty. My belt ain't Fendi, and I ain't got a Beamer, Benz or a Bentley. I'm on a big man ting. 16 bars, it's a big man ting. Well, you know about that, it's a big man ting. Spit real rap on the track, don't sing, yeah. I'm on a big man ting. 16 bars, it's a big man ting. Well, you know about that, it's a big man ting. Spit real rap on the track, don't sing. I'm a big man, I've got bare bars. In the last 16, that spat was hard. Don't try to compete, cause you will get scarred. Put the mic down, boy, or you might get hard. And I know that you're after the bigger, better cheddar. And you talk about your gelly, but you know I never met her. Repping for the people who can't kill life, it's better. Honors make the beat and it bangs like a Beretta. Hot up in the spot like when you kill with chili pepper. Thought you were bad, I'm about to fuck your rapper. Let's get it straight, you know way they're gonna end me. I'm calling it NG, that's no question. I ain't Catholic, no confessing. Keep on stressing how they're the hardest. But I spray up the place regardless. I've been in the race since the days are heartless. I'm on.
Okay, so there's a few things that I can hear going on. The beat needs some adjustment, and you know it was a sketch out beat. You're always going to end up working on that again when you get your vocals. The chorus by far needs the most work.
I'm on a big man ting. 16 bars is a big man ting. Well, you know.
Like the balance for that is all over the place. The verses, like they're actually fitting okay, but there's some things we can do to jazz it up and give it a real nice feel.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting, ain't out on road and
so check out this first thing here. There's a really loud ad-lib and then there's a quieter ad-lib, right?
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a list.
Now I kind of like the loud jump, it proper accentuates it, but it's a little bit much. So one of the first things I'd actually be looking at, which is unusual, would be compression. If we zoom in here, we can see like it was done really quite quietly here, and yet this is nice and loud. So check these out just on the sides.
I'm on a mission, bro. Spat was cold.
Yeah, so this is like nice and flat and it sits really well with this section here.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a...
But the second one kind of gets lost. And it's things like that I'd be looking to correct. So I would be looking to compress it. Now, how would you go about doing that? Do you do the left and right separately, or do you do it in a bus? That's going to be up to you. What I'm going to do is do them separately, because there's slightly different performances and bits of the ad-libs happening on the left and right, and I don't want like one compressor just to slam both when we've got the option to do it. So for example, there's little like phrases in here that aren't on one side.
Bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting ain't out on road.
Yeah, so little things like that, and we can have a little bit of fun with them and figure them out. So let's have a look at doing some compression on here that's going to help us out. So if you're ever working in Logic, you haven't got your meters over here on the left, hit I, Inspector should pop up for you. Real simple way to work. Let's work at getting this first ad-lib working for us. Going to make that a wee bit smaller while we're streaming. And we're going to solo these two together. And I think the Platinum Digital will do us absolutely fine. And thank you for anyone watching. Any questions, just throw them out and I will do my best to help you guys out as we go along. So what we're really looking for, like these smaller phrases, we want to just level those out without slamming too much else. So let's see what the compressor's doing by default. I'm going to put the threshold right up to 0, so it shouldn't be compressing, then dial it back. Like the ratio wise, somewhere between 2 and 3 is probably going to be alright. Attack wise, I'm going to have to get a feel for it.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars. Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16. Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting ain't out on road. Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat.
It's going to sound weird because I'm just working on the left side at the moment here.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting ain't out on road. Listen.
Cool, so the auto gain's doing the job alright, but I'm going to go manual because I only want to bring it up around 3.5 by the looks of things.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting ain't. Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big.
Cool, so now you can hear the accentuation a little bit on the phrase just here.
That spat was cop spat was that spat was cop spat.
Yeah, let's take it off.
That spat was cop spat was cop spat. That spat was.
Yeah, now with it on.
That spat was cop spat was that spat. That spat was cop spat.
And without the compressor.
That spat was cop spat was. That spat was cop spat was cop spat.
Yeah, much quieter.
That spat was cop spat was.
So what I've done, I've brought that phrase up by about 3.5 dB, but with using the compressor, I brought everything down, so it just levels it out a little bit, and that's what we were looking to do. So I'd go and set it on the right hand side as well, but for the moment we're going to get away with a copy and paste job, and we're going to test those out and make sure it does in fact work for us.
Listen, I'm on a mission. Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a listen. Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a bliss.
Now, he's missed like the spat was cold bit on there. I don't like the difference so much of it being lost. Just check it out.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a listen.
So what we're going to do is utilize it from this, and we're going to do a bit of some cheeky editing. So T and I to bring up the cut tool, double tap T to bring us back. We're going to cut these bits away. Always make sure that you go and just pop some little fades in if you've done cuts. Just some careful editing. And we're going to snap you right in here. And we're going to take this tiny little bit just here. We're going to bring in and we're going to kind of stitch them together with a crossfade. And this is common. This is like a single word, tiny phrase. So we should get away with that.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a listen. Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a listen. I'm on a mission.
And it's a little touch out of time, right? I think it should be about here. So let's bring these guys back. They're somewhat in line with it. Boom. And here we've started comping to get our vocal.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a listen.
There we go.
I'm on a mission.
And you can feel like there's much more of a hit in that now, right?
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a listen. I'm on a mission, bro.
And it's going to be a case of going through the vocal and getting those bits squared away as much as possible. Lots of little edits and things like that. And where we've got stuff on one side, it's not always going to be a negative, but sometimes it's just not what we're after. So I think we have a bit of fun with that, where we've just got the ting on the one side. And I might do something like throw that in a delay and have it like double up just on that side, or maybe even ping pong to the opposite side, because between the two we've got like some alternate phrasing going on, which is kind of cool.
Ting ain't out on road. Ting ain't out on road.
And the way we'd do that, we would cheat and make a new track. You could automate it and push it into a delay, which, yeah, do you know what? Alright, we'll do that. That's the sensible way to do it. So on this track here, we are going to make ourselves a new send. So we're going to click on here and go into the bus. And we'll take bus 20 just so I know where it is. Comes up as 38 because Logic doesn't like to do stuff sensibly. And we are going to just call you delay, so DLY. My lexicon reverb's dead, that's why something else sounds off. That's fine, we will fix that as we go. What should we put on here? Let's go into my classics. Let's have H delay mono to stereo. And what's our BPM? It's 130, so even though it's linked to the host, it's not linking correctly. Fun and games. So 130. Cool. So what we can do now is just push that send with a little bit of automation. But on that track, just where it says that phrase, and you know, I might not even stick with this, we might not use it, but is what it is. We'll see if we like it. Where are we? So just here we want to go volume, we want you to be main, we want send one delay, absolute value. And we're going to switch our alt tool to the pencil, and we're going to pencil this in rather than draw it in, because while live streaming, can't have my controller hooked up annoyingly. So if we do something like that. Cool, so that goes on far too much obviously. So we need to grab our delay and now dial it in from here.
Man ting ain't out on road and grinding since I was 9 years old. Don't leave man ting ain't out on road and grinding since I was man ting ain't out on road and
now we need to figure out what sort of delay we want to have. Do we want it to be an effect? What sort of sound we're going to go for? Definitely going to take some of the lower end out of it, probably up to sort of the 300 region. Don't want it messing with the drums.
man ting ain't out on road and grinding since man ting ain't out on road and
Kind of like that, but maybe a bit slower. 1/8.
ting ain't out on road and grinding. Man ting ain't out on road.
And we'll keep it at a high level for a moment, and then we'll drop it off a lot quicker like that. If we do T and Q, I think Q, no, T and W, close to Q, we can just get some automation curvature going on.
Man ting ain't out. Man ting ain't out on road and grinding. Man ting ain't out on road and grinding.
And what works quite nicely is the way it sort of then goes from the left and fills up the whole space.
Man ting ain't out on road.
Again, it's another tiny little thing. All we've done is worked on the first few seconds here. We haven't had to balance anything out. We've not been playing with our mix. We're just getting the vocal performance as we want it and as we enjoy it.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting ain't out on road and grinding since I was 9 years old. Don't listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting ain't out on road and grinding since I was 9 years old. Don't listen. Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that's backwards code on a big man ting. Ain't out on road and grinding since I was 9 years old. Don't live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, pretty unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible.
Sweet. So having listened through a little bit further, we've got this section here where the main vocal seems to get a little bit lost. Let me just get rid of the automation, play it back to you. I think it's this section here.
Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, pretty unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible.
There's a couple of ways we can approach this. We could cut it out and gain it individually.
Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, pretty.
Or again, we could reach for the compressor, and I think that's what we're going to go for. A little bit of compression on the vocal is going to be nice. What I'm going to do now is put just a little bit of compression on here, and I'm going to make a vocal bus just for the verses and compress those separately. So we get kind of a double lift. I'm going to do a compressor just for those verse vocals, and then one for everything as a whole, just to lift the whole lot up a little bit more. Kind of glue them all together and give it an individual feeling. So let's just solo it out. That verse we'll use... I'm feeling we might use some multiband. Let's have a little listen real quick with this guy rocking. Fab Filters Pro multiband, like brilliant multiband compressor.
Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone.
Cool, so what I'm noticing straight away, we've got loads of sort of unnecessary low end picked up on that mic. So that'll be something to address as well. That could be why we're getting some like other balance issues that are going on. So let's have a little look at that as well. We are going to EQ this first. I'm going to use Q2. And we'll have a slightly better look inside here now.
Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with...
Yes, it's not wild, but it is getting up to sort of the minus 12 range, and we definitely don't need what's in there. Let's get a point here and have a listen. It's all just like mad sub, floor noise, things like that. We don't need it or want it in there. So we are going to high shelf that just because it's not needed. We don't want to be too extreme with it. Sort of 18B slope.
Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me...
Cool, so what I'm doing here, by the way, is just sweeping up to the point it's obvious, like it hurts the vocal. I just want to dial it back. Like if you could dial it in, and you might not notice, like that might sound alright.
Don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link.
If you make it sound terrible, then dial it back. You're gonna find a better place.
Flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum,
that seems about right to me.
Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track...
Now I can have a look at the compression side of things.
Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow.
Cool, so we're gonna have a listen to some of the areas individually, but I'm thinking we'll probably split this into two bands.
Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a...
and then probably it's just own higher band. We can cover the whole lot, so we'll have this.
Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused.
And the reason being, I want to control a little bit of this boxiness. I'll be looking at EQ again after this compressor here, just to reduce a bit again, just so I can have a control between the balance of the two.
Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like
just
a clone.
dialing in the attack and release there so it feels a bit more natural.
The track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of
Hello,
my own.
Ben.
Got my own
Shouldn't
flow,
you be
don't sound like a
working?
clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused.
Okay, just going to bring the threshold back just a little bit. We only need to sort of capture some of the sharper bits in the high end. Attack can be a lot quicker here. Just the smallest boost. So together,
If the track sounds horrible.
cool. And let's see if it balances better with the track.
Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a...
Alright, so we're going to jump back to Pro Q now. And we want to have a listen to this. A bit of like a boxy frequency going in there. We want to see if we can dial that away.
Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own.
Tip a bit
got
of
my
that
own
out.
flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a...
Right, and there's some areas we want to bring out a bit as well.
Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with...
Now I want to add a little bit of weight to this vocal as well. I actually quite liked bringing it up sort of here.
Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own.
Now just for reference, if you're working with the same vocalist a lot, it's a good shout to have like a pre-made preset that works really well for them. So if I just copy this track real quick, bring this bit of verse down, I'm going to mute that off, and I should have somewhere. Yeah, we can probably use Trigga Chorus. Let's see what we've got. And this should load up a chain for us that hopefully will sit pretty well on that vocal. So let's see how that works instead.
Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own.
Yes, it's a little bit harsh. Got old neutron on there. That tells you how long I've had this, because it's on version 3 now. Yeah, so we're lifting up a bit high on this recording, so we just literally have to dial that back down.
Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible.
And you see how quick that was to kind of get to the same sort of place, right? That's just a much easier way to work than that.
Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own...
Yeah, it would be working a long time to get to a similar kind of point. So for the sake of this live stream, we're going to copy that over. What I'm going to do is keep the verses one up here. What I'm going to do is mute it, and if we press H, we can highlight it and hide it away. I can come back and work on it later if I want. Can you start from the beginning? Whenever I finish this, which will probably be in like 15 minutes or so, I'll just let the video upload and feel free to watch through it again, man. But I can't rewind the last half hour.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting. Ain't out on road, been grinding since I was 9 years old. Don't live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible.
Cool, so we're starting to get there, right? So using that preset chain, that's helped us out a lot. Now I want to group all these verse sections together and definitely give them a bit of compression glue. So just hit 1, hold shift, select the whole lot. Over in the mixer, we're basically going to change where they go at to go to a bus. So it says stereo out here, going to click on that, go bus, and we're going to use 15. And we're going to call that VX VS, so I know it's vocals verse.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting. Ain't out on road, been...
And that gives me all of my vocals on one channel, which means now when I bring the compressor in, I can compress the whole lot together. And I'm not entirely sure what we're going to use on this yet, but I think we might have a little play around with Neutron 3. FL Studio is completely fine. The thing with FL Studio is you got all different versions and you're dead restricted on what comes with it. Bear in mind as well, I've got many third-party plugins. So, you know, I've got all kinds of different tools in the tool shed, if you will. Like Logic by far is the best value for money, but if you're not on Mac, then you can't use it, which is its downside. Its closest competitor is probably Cubase, and Cubase is about £700. FL Studio is great, it's an awesome tool. You can see that it is installed right here, along with Live and Pro Tools. But equally, like, it's better for sort of creation and being creative rather than a mixing tool, in my opinion. Like, people use it for all kinds of things. So, Neutron, doing the whole lot. Let's get rid of the EQ. I don't think we need that for the minute. We're going to compress everything together. So let's grab compressor 1. We'll go vintage mode. We'll have a little bit of flavor on it. We want it on peak rather than RMS in this case. And let's try and dial this in so it glues the vocals together. At the minute, they all sound a little bit like disjointed. You can hear that it's 3 separate recordings.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a...
The idea of this compression is to have something that behaves on all of those 3 recordings at exactly the same time. Your ear kind of just goes, yeah, they all sound as one. This is what people talk about when they have the glue on the mix bus. It's literally compression. It's one thing acting over everything. That's how we get that. I like to do it on vocals and like the overall channel.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting. Ain't out on road, been grinding since I was 9 years old. Don't live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting. Ain't out on road, been grinding since I was 9 years old. Don't live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting. Ain't out on road, been grinding since I was 9 years old. Don't live with my mum.
Cool, so quite a fast attack. A slow-ish release, like that 240 was quite good. Yeah, no worries, man. Yeah, we'll keep having to tweak that. I think like the 3.5 ratio is taking just enough out. We'll push it up by around 2 dB by the looks of things.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting. Ain't out on road, been grinding since I was 9 years old. Don't live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. No.
Sweet, so we're just going to A-B it quickly. I just want to make sure it's not sort of giving me the loudness trick, where if it sounds a little bit louder, it automatically feels good.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting. Ain't out on road, been grinding since I was 9 years old. Don't live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible.
So hopefully you can hear that glue effect is happening, where it's 3 separate recordings. When the compressor's in there just doing that little bit of work, only a couple of dB of compression, and it all just becomes one thing. So obviously in context with the tracks where it's really important.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting. Ain't out on road, been grinding since I was 9 years old. Don't live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting. Ain't out on road, been grinding since I was 9 years old. Don't live with my mum, got a...
Alright, we're getting there. So you guys that have been watching from the start or are watching like the replay of this, we'd basically repeat that through all of the vocals. We'd get all of the ad-libs squared away in the right space. We'd make sure the left and right balance is good. We'd have a little bit of fun like we did with the delay and just some sort of ear candy effects. The other big thing we need to do is rebalance the whole track. So when I sent the beat out, it had this solid bus and this Lursant on it. I am literally going to bin those off entirely, so the track's going to sound completely different. I'm also going to bring in a tool I use to basically help me balance everything out called Tonal Balance Control. And anyone who's watched my videos before has seen this tool. I use it all the time. It's from Isotope. It comes with Ozone 8 or Neutron 2 or 3. And I've got a couple of presets I've made. We're going to use the one called Still because that works for this type of music. And we're going to switch it to Fine, and it gives me this noise profile here. And I know that I want to be roughly in that noise profile for this type of music to be mixed well. So if we now play out a verse, we want to see where we're at.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting. Ain't out on road, been grinding since I was 9 years old. Don't live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Mix it down, send it again. What's all this talk about? Draw for the skeng. If you can't write bars, don't pick up the pen.
So looking at that, we know I've nailed the low end pretty well, right up around the mid-range. Then I've got some dips happening here. My vocal's not as best it could be, and there's maybe some weird high end going on that we need to look at. High end's not as much of an issue as having that low end nice and tight. We look like we've got that pretty solidly. This lets me know though that there's lots of room to move around my vocal. My vocal is mainly going to sit between like 1k and 6k. It's going to be the detailed vocal range. The weight is going to be in this section here, but the detail of it's going to be over here, and I know I've got loads of room for detail now.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting. Ain't out on road, been grinding since I was 9 years old. Don't live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible.
Yeah?
Mix it down.
So all the detail in the vocals around here, right?
If you can't write bars, don't pick up the pen. At least work on your craft, don't war with a man. Bars.
And what I mean by the detail is it's the parts of the sound that let you hear it and understand what's being said. If I filter it out to just here.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a
Yeah, it's a lot harder to get what's going on. It happens the lower we go. Much easier to understand. It's the detail in the sound.
Sounds horrible. Mix it down, send it again. What's all this talk about? Draw for the skeng. If you can't write bars, don't pick up the pen. At least work on your craft, don't war with the men. Bars, hooks and flows. I got plenty. Talk this and that, but your tank's on empty. My belt ain't Fendi, and I ain't got a Beamer, Benz or a Bentley.
Another thing that's completely unrelated, but when I first made this, I still had the Lexicon reverb, and I don't have that anymore, so I need to replace that because there's currently no reverb on everything going to this Lexi. Just like all these drums and hi-hats and tops. So I'm very quickly just going to fix that, and we're going to use, doesn't really matter for the minute, we'll throw like the RC48 in there, just so we've got some kind of reverb. That'll do.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting. Ain't out on road, been grinding since.
Cool. Now my compressor's off. We are clipping as well, so that's something else that we definitely need to address. So we are going to cheat here and dial everything back. My gain staging isn't amazing, but we're going to get away with it just about. If we highlight all the tracks, we are going to bring it back around 3 dB. It might give us just the right amount of headroom. Now ideally, like some of these faders are now at like -24. Really, I don't like to be dipping anything between -12, but we're going to get away with it. It's not going to like detrimentally affect the sound, especially as it's small things here. I mean, honestly, they're what, tiny little sounds that pop in somewhere in the track, and they still sound fine.
Listen, I'm on a mission, bro. The 16 bars that spat was cold on a big man ting. Ain't out on road, been grinding since I was 9 years old. Don't live with my mum, got a yard of my own. Got my own flow, don't sound like a clone. Know that I'm focused, fully unstoppable. Don't send me a link if the track sounds horrible. Mix it down, send it again. What's all this talk about? Draw for the skeng. If you can't write bars, don't pick up a pen. At least work on your craft, don't war with the men. Bars, hooks and flows, I got plenty. Talk this.
Now, we just looked at that profile. We know we've got lots of space for more room in the high end. And I've noticed that since we put the vocal in, the piano's become a little bit buried. Without the vocal, the piano sticks out quite nicely in the beat. That little piano melody that pops in around about here. You can hear that perfectly fine. Just sort of sits on top of the beat. With the vocal in, it's basically gone.
But your tank's on empty, my belt ain't Fendi, and I ain't got a Beamer, Benz or a Bentley. Mix it down, send it again. What's all this?
Now we've got room to bring that up a little bit in our mix. So we could literally just give it some extra gain and bring it to like, give it 3 dB, so like -11.
Mix it down, send it again. What's all this talk about? Draw for the skeng. If you can't write bars, don't pick up a pen. At least work on your craft, don't war with the men. Bars, hooks and flows, I got plenty. Talk this and that, but your tank's on empty. My belt ain't Fendi, and I ain't got a Beamer, Benz or a Bentley.
Now it's definitely sitting in the similar vocal space as the vocal as well.
Mix it down, send it again. What's all this talk about? Draw for the skeng. If you can't write bars, don't pick up a pen. At least work on your craft, don't war with the men. Bars, hooks and flows, I got plenty.
There's a way we can have it so they're both at the same volume, but they don't really fight. The vocal's priority, but in those moments where there's no vocal and they definitely juxtapose each other, we can just have it so that doesn't really get touched. And we'll cheat a little bit. I'll show you a really simple way to do it in Logic with a compressor. So if we click over here, we're going to get a compressor on our piano. We are going to go audio up in the sidechain on the top right, and if we grab verses, which should be probably audio 17 because I made a copy earlier, that should now trigger this compressor.
Mix it down, send it again. What's all this talk?
Beautiful. Turn auto gain off. We're just going to dial it in, so just a couple of dB takes out a bit from the piano.
Mix it down, send it again. What's all this talk about? Draw for the skeng. If you can't write bars, don't pick up a pen. At least work on your craft, don't war with the men. Bars, hooks and flows, I got plenty. Talk this and that, but your tank.
Now let's make sure we like the piano sound. What I might do is have a little play and send that to the delay we had on the ad-libs earlier. Kind of like that.
And at least work on your craft, don't war with the men. Bars, hooks and flows.
And we've still got space now to bring it up even more because they're not fighting with each other. So we're going to bring it up way too loud, which is going to be 0, and then dial it back to a place that sounds nice.
Mix it down, send it again. What's all this talk about? Draw for the skeng. If you can't write bars, don't pick up a pen. At least work on your craft, don't war with the men. Bars, hooks and flows, I got plenty. Talk this and that, but your tank's on empty. My belt ain't Fendi, and I ain't got a Beamer, Benz or a Bentley. Mix it down, send it again. What's all this talk about? Draw for the skeng. If you can't write bars, don't pick up a pen. At least work.
And that sits alright for me. So guys, that's all the time I've got. But if you want me to do more of these, just throw a comment below and give us a shout anytime on the channel, and I'll start doing more of these. I often have little bits of work like this to do for an hour or two, and I don't mind live streaming it when it's my own project or something that I can show. So happy to do it, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you very much for watching. All the best.